Digital Bank wants to give more Filipinos easier access to services such as debit, bank transfers, savings, and transactions. To talk about this, here with us is GoTyme Bank's President and CEO, Nathaniel Clarke. Nate, great to have you with us on the final word. So, GoTyme Digital Bank has been in existence now for 15 months. Have Filipinos embraced digital banking?
Yes, and actually faster than we expected. Part of the team that started Time Bank in South Africa. This is our second market. And by every measure, we are growing faster than we did in South Africa. And I think the other digital banks are doing well. So as an example, we've signed up almost 2.3 million customers in our first 15 months. And we're actually growing, for the last 4 months, been growing at 250,000 a month. So
and what is your goal for 2024?
We're going to end the year above 5 million customers.
5 million customers. And which particular services does GoTyme Digital Bank currently offer to its depositors and customers?
Depositors, yeah. So you have a transactional account. I have here the Visa debit card we offer, bank transfers, savings, loyalty with Go Rewards. And then we've also launched our first lending product to SMEs. So I think you can think of us as an everyday bank, just like any of the large existing banks. So everyday needs.
But are Filipinos really into the digital banking space? Because you're also being branded as phygital. Apart from having your app on your phone and going to a physical kiosk, but not a bank itself.
Yeah. So I think our unique model versus the other pure digital banks is you can sign up at a Robinson supermarket. There's 450. It's also a marketplace, other GoConway brands, and even office buildings. So 2/3 of those 2.3 million customers have actually signed up at a kiosk with the help of an ambassador, but 1/3 have done it fully on the phone. Essentially what we're able to do is open up to customers who are not comfortable, as you say, with a pure digital experience. So maybe the older folks, whether affluent or not, and also people who generally lower income are attracted to speaking to someone. And what it does really is it accelerates trust. I think if you're a young millennial or a Gen Zer, you're more digital native, you're comfortable with digital banking. But if this is the first time you've done this, you're interested because we can offer higher interest rates, lower fees, and better service. But without talking to someone and see something physical, you're unlikely to trust it. So we bridge that gap.
And despite creating opportunities for many people online, and getting easier access to financial services, we still generally, Nate, have very unreliable internet access and the lack of digital skills. How do we Filipinos overcome that hurdle?
I mean, I think actually in the cities, for a banking app, actually requires very little data. Even same with our kiosk. So it's not like we're streaming something in HD on the phone, right? So the data required and the network connectivity required, yes, we have little ups and downs, but for the most part, it's not a big problem for us. As far as digital adoption amongst Filipinos, I mean, as you would know, they're huge adopters of social media. And actually, I have one comparison point, that's South Africa. Actually, the Filipinos are more digital savvy.
But of course, on the flip side as well, apart from internet access and potentially the lack of digital skills among Filipinos, there are also doubts on cybersecurity, information being hacked and stolen. What assurance can you give customers that their accounts online will not be hacked?
Safe, yeah. I think, this is a major focus for us. And actually, we just finished up our yearly BSP audit. So like all banks, we get audited on our cybersecurity. I think one of the advantages we have as a new digital bank is we're building everything from scratch. We have a much simpler architecture, can use the latest technology. So I would say we're in a very strong position from a cybersecurity perspective. But actually the bigger challenge in the Philippines is not someone being hacked, but it's actually someone being phished or tricked or scammed. So I think what all of us as banks are trying to do is educate. I think the challenge in the Philippines is that because many people are first-time digital bankers or online banking, even from the traditional banks, they are easily duped into giving out their PIN or giving out
the OTP numbers.
OTP. So I think the biggest thing we can do is actually education.
And how is GoTyme implementing this educational program, this information campaign that many of our kababayans, Filipinos, will not be duped and will not be hacked, and their hard-earned cash in your digital bank is safe and sound?
Yeah. So I guess we do our own education within our app, within our social media, within our marketing. We're actually also teaming up with the industry. So other digital banks, as a Digital Banks Association, we're investing in this. We've also joined something called Scam Watch, which is a private-public partnership to do this. So I think there's actually growing momentum both in the public sector, government, and the private sector to solve this. Because actually, it's something that hurts all of us, even though we're competing.
Not only in the Philippines, but all over the world. I was just reading an article, even Singapore, which is one of the most modern cities and countries in the world, they're being scammed.
It's one of the biggest industry challenges, and it's very, very high on our priority list to solve.
And currently, you have transactions, debit, loyalty, bank transactions, savings. What about insurance and investments, maybe in fixed income or in the stock market? When will this eventually become a reality for GoTyme?
Yeah, and that's a good question, because actually in the Philippines, the e-wallets have done a pretty good job of giving everyone the basic transactional account. So really our real mission is to expand access to the higher value banking products. We kind of see ourselves as an upgrade to that e-wallet. So that is things like credit, investments. So this year, for example, we will launch equity trading, as well as access to bonds and other asset classes. And we're also expanding the consumer credit. I would say maybe towards the end of this year if we're lucky, otherwise next year we'll get into insurance. And I think the reason why that's so important is that even though, let's say, half the country has a basic account, only less than 5% have access to credit, affordable credit, insurance, and investment. So that's actually where the real challenge is.
Well, the bottom line here in the Philippines with the phygital business model is to improve financial inclusion and unlock the financial potential of Filipinos.
Absolutely. We see this is not just a problem at the bottom end of the pyramid. I mean, if you're 5%, right? So if you talk about even in the top 25% in income, the A, B, you have very little penetration into affordable credit. So you're kind of doing informal lending, paying too high interest rates. You're only getting 1% in your traditional bank on savings. You have no access to stocks. So really what we're trying to do is democratize that preferred banking experience that the 5% get and give it to everyone.
Nate Clarke, CEO of GoTyme Digital Bank, thank you so much
Thank you. Thanks for
joining us on The Final Word.
Thank you.